Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live, brought to you by Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network, brought to you by American Whiskey and Crew Brew. I just saw Beer Baron, and, looks like he was having an and Crew Brew, and he was joining our crew. So, Beer Baron, hopefully you can hear me. We've been having some technical difficulties. So, looks like you're a little confused. Beer Baron, can you hear me? Okay, looks like not. So our New Jersey Devils are taking on the Edmonton Oilers tonight. We're hoping that the Devils can have a much better performance against the Edmonton Oilers this time around. The Devils went into that game after beating Calgary in the second half of a back-to-back, which we have discussed on the podcast before. That we have some of the league leading highs in back-to-back games, and we lost that second half of the back-to-back. And we have not been very good on the second halves of back-to-backs. So, again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Beer Baron standing there at American Whiskey, enjoying the ambiance, enjoying the crowd. Looks like a good crowd for a Thursday night, right before the holiday season, taking on Edmonton. And why wouldn't it be a good crowd? We have, one of the best players, potentially one of the better players, or one of the best players of the game of all time coming into town, and Connor McDavid. The bar is packed. Everyone is drinking, and hopefully everyone is drinking some and Crew Brew and joining our crew. That's the good thing about these Western Conference opponents is we see very few opposing jerseys in our bar, unlike last game where we had some Flyer jerseys sprinkled in amongst everyone that was there. But that's what happens when you get a local rival in the Metropolitan Division. When it comes to tonight's opponents in the Edmonton Oilers, they started pretty poorly, and they've since picked it up and have turned into, the Edmonton Oilers that I think we have all come to know. I want to say welcome to all of our followers on YouTube, Facebook Live, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Everyone out there, hello. If you see, hey, I think I hear Beer Baron finally. There's Beer Baron. He can't hear us, but we can hear him. So what's up to Ted and Max? Yeah, Max, I'm going to have to agree with you. Just win, please. That would be really, really good. A Devils victory tonight would be fantastic, especially after losing in overtime against the Flyers. Dropping that point against a Metro Division opponent is never good. At least we did gain one, but by giving them that other point in overtime, we gave them a little bit of advantage in the division when they're above us, which is not good. However, it is what it is. Got to move on to the next game tonight against Edmonton, and then we have Detroit coming up on Saturday. And the Devils have a couple days off, so hopefully they'll reconvene, figure things out, and come back hard against Columbus. But let's focus a little bit on tonight. The Edmonton Oilers in town. This is a team that, could beat, and we should beat, and hopefully we'll be beating tonight. And going into this game against Edmonton, not really quite sure who's starting in net. We're still waiting to see that. So if anyone out there in the YouTube chat has seen anything today about who's starting in net or who was in the starter's net today in practice, it seems to be anybody's net at this point when it comes to New Jersey Devils, which is something that we need to figure out. And, we don't know if that's going to be by trade, but one of these goalies has to step up and take the reins of this job. And, basically just to become the starter. That's the big thing. They have to want to become the starter, and I don't know if any of them are showing that or really in that space to do it. We had Nico Dawes sitting in the press box and up and ready to go. It's good to see him back from injury. But, we'll see what happens tonight against this Edmonton Oilers team, which has a high-powered offense, which can match our high-powered offense. So this could be a really high-scoring affair. It is possible for all those out there in all the chat groups. It is possible to see a Sam Wu prediction come to life tonight. So eventually we're going to start getting some predictions and, get some game predictions for tonight. Final scores, hopefully with a New Jersey Devils victory. And once again, I am just going to reiterate what Max has said in the YouTube live group. Please just win, please. And that's really what the Devils need to be doing. They need to be winning, and they need to do it, and they need to gain these 2 points, because he's lost 2 points in December here and there. While a 3-win, 1-loss, outcome isn't too bad, we've got to stop giving these points away to Metro Division teams like we did against the Flyers, and we got to stop being charitable. Even though it is the holiday season, it is the season of giving. We can't be so charitable to these teams like Anaheim and all the other lower bottom feeding teams that we shouldn't be giving points to, like Anaheim and the Sharks, those Pacific Division teams that are coming in, somehow getting victories, but also seeming to vault to further victories after beating the Devils. Once again, welcome to everyone in the YouTube live chat. Please throw your comments into the chat, and it looks like we got Ted already with a prediction. So since this is probably going to be a little bit shorter of a game day live, let's start thinking about our predictions here in the chat. So if you have some predictions for tonight's game, throw it in the YouTube chat, and we'll start getting to them in a little bit. Once we get to that portion of the show, which may come a little bit sooner rather than later. So that's why I'm saying everyone should get their predictions into the chat now. So this way we have them in case we cut this a little bit short, since it is just me tonight, unexpectedly. We had Beer Baron for a little bit, but again, let's take in the video here from American Whiskey. We've got a packed crowd. Again, it's a Thursday night. Some people probably have off tomorrow. I wish I had off tomorrow, but I don't. But it should be a pretty good crowd tonight. These holiday season games are always fun, always enjoyable to go to. Everyone seems to be in a very happy mood, which is awesome. It is the holiday season, so I don't see why we wouldn't be. Unfortunately, what I don't see on that bar, which is a shame, is I don't see too much of Ann Crew Brew going out. We need to have a little bit more of that. So if anyone's there or going to American Whiskey, order yourself an Ann Crew Brew and join our crew today. Let's go back to the YouTube live chat here and see what we got going on. Let's see. Lots of forechecking against McDavid. Ted, I agree. Let's forecheck against McDavid, but you got to be careful because McDavid is slippery. McDavid is one of the best players that we are definitely seeing in our generation, and potentially one of the best players of all time. So that's the cool matchup about tonight. Is we have McDavid, who is solidified himself as one of the greats of this generation, and Jack Hughes, who is on the way to solidifying himself as one of the greats of this generation. And he, has that mold to follow in Connor McDavid. So seeing that matchup one-on-one, this is a potential Stanley Cup final matchup we could see at some point. And what we are hoping is that obviously New Jersey Devils will be, the winners of that Stanley Cup matchup if it were to come against the Devils and the Oilers. But this is one of those matchups that we could potentially see in a Stanley Cup final down the road, of which you have two of the best players of the current modern era facing off against each other, and just offensive juggernauts, which is really weird to call the Devils an offensive juggernaut, especially knowing that all those years that we won our cups was built on defense and goaltending. And all of a sudden now we have all this explosive offense, and it's a fun brand of hockey to watch. And it's definitely different for all the longtime Devil fans that suffered through the 80s and the early 90s and then mid-90s to the early 2000s. It was all those defensive teams that won those Stanley Cups, and a lot of us are old defensive-minded people. I am as a goalie. However, this is not this is not the old Devils of the 90s. This is a defensive team. Or excuse me, this is an offensive team where those teams were defensive teams, if I can remember what I'm talking about. And we have this new brand of Devils hockey, and I think it's definitely loved amongst the fan base, and we want to see more of it. So once again, to everyone that's in the YouTube chat, we got some more going on. We got some of our predictions rolling in. Ramona Rice has her prediction. I'll read some of these in a little bit. Ted says Jack Hughes, no more of the no look passes. That no look pass the other night was a bummer, and it really kind of led to a downfall of the Devils in overtime. Corbin said Jack will be playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's pissed off. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game. That's the type of game you need out of that type of player. If Jack is going to be playing pissed off, he is hopefully going to respond in the positive way. But also, what we got there with Ted saying that Timo's got to step up. Even Timo was quoted today that he's not happy with his game. And I want to say that Timo not being happy with his game is not lost on all of us Devils fans out here. This is not the Timo that we had hoped for when we had when we signed him over the summer to this long-term deal. So it's a bummer to see him playing like that. And it seems like he's unhappy with his game, and he understands and recognizes he's not playing well and that he should be playing better. And that's really all you can ask for, is even though the player knows that if the player's realizing that means the player's going to be working hard, and eventually that break is going to come. And I just have a feeling that once Timo's break comes, then he's just going to explode. And then if we can get all these players, we can get Jack, Timo, Brat, Nico all exploding at once as we're going into the playoffs, once we've qualified for the playoffs and these players are all clicking and we finally get some good goaltending, I think the Devils will be set going into the playoffs. Once again, looking at American Whiskey, again, a really good crowd. Couple deep at the bar, that's what you want. Make sure that if you are there at American Whiskey or you're going there, to please tip the bartender, show them your appreciation. Order yourself some Man Crew brew and have a good time tonight as the Devils take on the Edmonton Oilers in what is hopefully going to be a rematch and a different outcome than the last time we played them, which was the Devils' loss. And we want to see 2 victories going into this mini Christmas break. And if you're coming out on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings, well, you're in luck, because a lot of us, Sam and myself and a couple others, are going to be out at American Whiskey. We are going to be out there and potentially having our fun Festivus episode, as long as we get everything together. That's the goal for Saturday. But come on out, have a good time in American Whiskey. It's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings. Good young team, just like our New Jersey Devils, that are on the ascendancy and are looking to do just what the Devils are now doing. And I see we got a Samu prediction, so I guess it's time for some predictions. Samu's got his prediction. Let me start reading some of these predictions there. Let me just get a message here to Sam. There we go. There's American Whiskey, nice and packed. Crowds noticing everything on TV. What's up to everyone out there at American Whiskey? Good crowd. Chicago Blackhawks. Oh, it's probably a Griswold 00 jersey. That's probably why. There we go. That's always a classic to see out, especially this time of year, with that being such a great Christmas movie. Let me just get a message here to Sam. All right. So we're going to go into predictions shortly. I've got Sam on his prediction. Let's go to the rest of the YouTube chat. So if you have not yet thrown your prediction, hey, woo! Look at that. A super chat from a Ranger fan, from my good buddy Mike. Way to go, Mike. Oh my gosh, Mike, you called me by my real name. That's not allowed here in this podcast. Mike is my teammate, one of my really good friends. An unfortunate part of his life is he's a Ranger fan, but we'll let him slide. Mike, thank you so much for the super chat. I love you too. Chuba is bad. Even though the league went in the full court press trying to make him seem like a good guy. Mike, I like your prediction. So if you have not yet thrown your predictions into the chat, Mike, I'll read yours first once we get to the predictions in a little bit. But thank you, Mike, for the super chat. I'll be sure to thank you when I see you at the rink next time. All right, so let's start looking at these predictions. Ted was first in with his prediction of 5-3. Ramona Rice is 3-2. That's sort of that's always kind of a go-to with Ramona's prediction. Let's see, Mikey Malillo. I was supposed to read your first. My apologies, Mike. 4-3. He says 4-3 Devils. A Ranger fan is predicting the Devils are going to win tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. Wow, I like it. We have Beachmasters with a 5-4 Devils victory. Selected Boy 4-3 Devils. Corbin with a 7-4 Devils victory, which is very much like almost like a Samu prediction. We just got Beer Baron's prediction coming in too. Steven Engel, 5-2 Oilers. Steven, you love sometimes picking against our New Jersey Devils. I guess you want to, you could be listed as a realistic Devils fan. But yeah, I still don't like that, and I know Vinny doesn't like, any predictions against our New Jersey Devils. So now let's get to our predictions. Beachmaster says it's going to be a barn burner. It has that potential. We have two high-powered offenses tonight that are going up against each other with some suspect goaltending on both sides. It could absolutely be a barn burner tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. If either of the goaltenders who are playing tonight decide to play goal, it might be different. But if their goalies are going to play the way they've been playing, well, it could be an absolute definition of a barn burner tonight. Joseph just getting his prediction in. 3-2 Devils in overtime. Going to be a close one. Another overtime game, 2 in a row. So let's start getting to our predictions here before we cut this for the evening and let everyone go in. Beer Baron predicts 3-1 Devils. Sam Wu with a typical Sam Wu prediction at 7-0, 7-0 to the New Jersey Devils. I don't know if that's going to happen, Sammy. I've seen a 7-0 match. I've seen 2 7-0 games in my life. Once, Devils Flyers. Second, Red Bulls NYCFC. It's a lot of fun when you have a high-powered offensive game like that. My prediction, I'm going to go with 5-4 New Jersey Devils with the victory tonight. And that's hopefully going to bring us into another victory on Saturday, of which you can come out to American Whiskey and join us for our Festivus episode, of which we're going to be doing the airing of grievances and maybe some potential feats of strength as well. That's coming up this Saturday at American Whiskey, so come on out and have a good time. And I hear that music, and that means only one thing. It's time to go into the arena and cheer on our New Jersey Devils. And to quote Vinny Parisi, who always quotes Sam Wu, let's go Devils.